Hello, my name is Toy. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about tri-symbol decks and how to go about designing them. For the most part, you're only going to be doing this if you really need to gain access to specific cards on each symbol, and usually that is either because they're either incredibly powerful or because they are silver bullets for specific decks in the format that you need to take care of. Every once in a while, they're to try and break something in the game where you have access to an attack on one symbol and maybe an action on another and maybe a foundation or an asset on a third. There's some weird things you can do in there, but for the most part, you're not going to need to run three symbols, but I'm going to go about the process anyway so that you can at least explore it if you want, and then we'll do a deck profile that is a tri-symbol deck, and yeah, we'll talk about things. So let's get into Tabletop Simulator, where I'll go through the process really quickly and you can see how it is done. We are not going to build a full deck today, but at least you will see the process and you'll know how to do it and you'll feel confident in how to go about designing it. Okay, so here we are in Tabletop Simulator. I've got my own custom backdrop stuck in here to help us do our tri-symboling. And over here we've got a copy of UFS Ultra open, which is pretty indispensable for doing tri-symbol decks because it's going to let us know what we can run, what we cannot run on which symbols. We've got Ivy, which is going to be our dummy deck for showing you how to do this structure in this layout. And yeah, this is our circle. So I'll just explain what this is really quickly. The center of this circle is going to be our tri-symbol section. And then on the outside, we are going to have each section represent a symbol. Okay, so one section is going to be the all symbol, and then we're going to skip one, and we're going to go to evil, and we're going to skip one, and we're going to do life. Okay, because those are her three symbols. And then in between each of those is going to be the symbols that share both of those. So if this is going to be all and this is going to be evil or whatever we end up doing, this will be all evil cards. So cards that share both symbols. That's just how we're going to lay it out so that when we do our whole deck, we can see where we start leaning, or typically when you go to design something, you're still going to have a core symbol that you're going to want to do most of your building on, or that you're going to want to be able to chain the majority of the time with, and then that's where most of the weight is going to be on that side of the circle, and then you're going to reach out to different sections of the circle to gain access to different cards. So typically when you're going to design a tri-symbol deck, you are almost always going to start with that character's own support, because obviously that character's support will have all three of their symbols on it. So we're going to grab all of her attacks, and we're going to put them in the middle. Okay, again, we're not trying to design some super fancy deck. We're just making sure that we have, I'm just showing you the process of design. We'll go through and we'll grab her foundations. She's right here. And she even has herself in action. She's right here. Okay. So all of this is going to go in the middle. And then I know that these can chain with anything that I play. So you remember how I said that we're going to be using Ultra. Okay, we're going to go standard. We're going to say this deck is going to use all and evil. Okay, that's going to be probably our primary pair. And we're just going to go actions, assets, attacks, and foundations, and we're going to search. Okay, this gives us 74 results. If I go all life, it gives us 64 results. And if I go life, evil, it gives us 43 results. So knowing that information, I'm going to build the bulk of my deck off all and evil because it gives me 74 results. It's the most options. Again, we're not trying to build an amazing deck right now. I'm just trying to show you the process. Lots of times we will build our deck based around the attack lineup that we have. So I'm going to see what else I get access to using all and evil. I get Dark Wreck, Purgatory, which is really good. I get Deathlord's Impalement, which is really good. We can probably do cute things with that. Right? We get access to all rando stuff. So there's lots of things we can do here. We also get access to all of the starter deck stuff off of Vicious there, which is probably going to be quite beneficial to us. It also lets us do Deliverance. So it lets us do lots of stuff. But it gives me enough information to now show you what we're going to do. I can come out. Okay. I can go into Bebop now. And we can pretend like we're just grabbing whatever. This will be my all evil section. Let's just grab 2 attacks. Throw them in there. Okay, that gives me 5 different attacks, and if we're running 4 of each, that gives us 20. Again, it doesn't matter what they are. We are purely trying to just show what we can do with this. So we'll grab a couple foundations. Okay, and there we go. All right, so now what this lets me do is that I know right now currently I can attack purely on all and evil, and I can build on all and evil right now, but I also have access to life on these. So what I can also do is I can grab Revoke. Revoke is a evil life card, so it's going to remove itself as part of its ability. We can negate enhances with it. We're going to want to use it to protect some of our attacks, so it chains off of these because it's evil, changes off these because it has evil and life. This is our all evil, so we'll put our life evil over here. So if I'm going to run, let's say my attack lineup is going to be evil. So we're going to go evil, attack lineup, so that we can always have access to Revoke. Right? But I can also go, at this point, I can go back to my Ultra. So now if I'm going to use evil, I can now go evil life, search, see what attacks are on evil and life. Okay, so I also get Thundering Impact, I get some of this stuff. It doesn't really matter what I'm grabbing again at this point. Let's grab, we'll grab some of this stuff. Fusion Soul Fist, sure. Come back through here, go into here, Fusion Soul Fist. Okay, this is evil life, matches our evil life over here, bring it down here. Plop. Okay, so because all of our attacks now share evil, but these ones all here share evil and life, what that gives us access to is outside of these two. So if we pretend that the 4 attacks here are our openers, we can use that information to pick what kind of splash cards we're going to run. So if I'm going to go life actions, I can now see what life actions I can run. So like the Dark Tournament Looms, for example. Add a card from our momentum to our hand, we can draw a card and it removes itself. Cool, that's good enough for what we're doing. Go over here, grab the Dark Tournament Looms. Right there. This is a life only card, which can go right there. Right? So we have evil here, life over here, all up here, and you're starting to see how this works. So now on any of these, if these are my openers, I can still enhance with Dark Tournament Looms. I can still get a card from my momentum. I can draw a card. I just can't do it on these, which is fine. So depending on how you structure your deck, if these were like your big finishers or your throws, and you can get them into momentum somehow, you can then use this to tutor them back out by opening up with one of these, right? It's just going to open us up to some weird things that we can do. So now I know that my attack lineup is going to be primarily evil. The opening part of my attack is mostly Tri-Symbol, we're going to say. And then that lets us branch out to different things. Again, we can go into other actions if we wanted. So we can also grab Toguro Bros just purely off evil. We can put that down here. Toguro Bros can now combo off any of our attacks, which is pretty cool. Because again, our attack lineup is purely evil. We can then input the same all foundations that we were going to do. Right, so we'll just grab, I'm not even going to look at what they are, we're just going to grab all of the Ken stuff because that's all on it. Okay, so this will be the reasons why we're branching into all for our foundation base. Okay, so this is our all only foundations. Then because we're running evil attacks and we would like to sometimes be able to play Fusion Soul Fist and still be able to build, we would still also want to come into here. And we would want to be able to find out what is all and evil in terms of assets and foundations. So again, we'd go all evil and we'd go asset and foundation, and we want to see what we're going to pull up. We get 40 results, so we're just going to give a higher priority to these cards. We can run like a Worthy Vessel, Born from Destruction. This card's good for us, right? And it shares 2 symbols. We talked about a lot of the stuff in our previous stuff, all randos things. Fiddlesticks, Dejanette, right? All of Vicious's stuff as well. Right, and we can just start grabbing a lot of this evil all stuff. So whatever, again, it doesn't matter. This is all for the purpose of demonstration. So this is all evil. This is also the part of the video where I realized I put these in the wrong spot. They go over here. There we go. Okay. So you're noticing now that we're starting to weigh heavily on all evil to give access to some evil stuff. We're running a couple other dual symbols because it's going to let us branch out over here. The only thing that we don't have in the deck right now is any life all stuff, but we could. We can come into here. We can grab ourselves Templar. Templar can come in. Okay. So Templar is going to be our all life card, and it's a defensive card. So now because our defensive plan is being based off of all in life, we're going to look. So Dark Tournament Looms might be something we want to play on defense as well, because we can enhance remove on the off turn and still get things off it. So we can block Templar, then we can still enhance Dark Tournament, or we can block Templar and block with some all things, or we can still block Templar and block with anything that shares double symbols, so it still gives access to the majority of our attack lineup. Even if we block Templar, we can still block Fusion Soul Fist if that's the attack in our hand because it shares life, or we can still chain this into any of our attacks. The only thing we can't do is go Templar, Fusion Soul, and then play one of these because it doesn't carry on a chain, but that is okay. Because if that was the situation, you just basically choose a block chain based on the majority of blocks you have in your hand. And usually you plan this on the turn that you're playing so that you don't catch yourself off guard. Yeah. Okay, so this is kind of the weird how to lay things out if you're going to Tri-Symbol, because it just lets you get a good visual plan on how you're going to lay things out and where things are going to go. Again, you're only going to do this if you need to reach into certain zones for certain things. If there's a specific action you need to get access to in certain symbols to make sure that your core deck runs and operates the way you want it to, that's important. Or if you want to make sure that you have access to an attack like whatever is on these symbols and connect it with foundations on another symbol, while again still maintaining tech options on a different symbol altogether, right? That's the only reason you're ever going to do this. And primarily when you do a tri-symbol deck, it needs to be a character that can run their own support or has a lot of tri-symbol support that you can operate with so that it maximizes the number of options that you have as you're building this deck. Because again, this is all super convoluted and there's very little reason to do it most of the time. I'm just kind of showing you the visual process that I go through when I'm doing it. I'm constantly bouncing back and forth between Ultra and a layout like this, whether I'm doing it on a table or on an actual tabletop simulator. I'm always doing this and going back and forth and seeing what is important. So I'll always start at 3 symbols, then I'll go through each of the dual symbols. I will pick a primary pair to use as offense, so it'll either be, in this case, we're going to go evil and all for my offensive pair, and then defensive pair is all in life, right? So then now that I know that, I can reach out into life evil stuff and know that it can still work with both offense and defense and so on and so on, right? So you're kind of jumping between all 3 symbols, and the more dual symbol pairs you can get access to, the better. So if you pick characters that have popular symbol pairs on them, then it makes things super easy and you get access to tons of stuff, and you'll find that when you're playing it, very rarely do you run into chain hiccups unless you're trying to do something really fancy. But this is the visual process. I could go way more into actually building a full deck on this, but it takes about an hour or so just to go through the whole thing, just to get the deck first drafted, not even to tweak it. So I can do that. If that's something that you guys are interested in, I'd be open to doing that. I would just need enough people to be like, hey, yeah, I'd love to see that full process, and then I'll do it. Otherwise, I'm going to do a profile of a deck that I did do a full build on, that someone requested I do, so that you can at least see how the interactions work across the 3 symbols, and we'll talk about that later. Again, this is not a deck. I'm just doing this to show you the quick and dirty process of laying out a tri-symbol deck. We'll go into how the exact interactions of it go on the next video. So until next time, this was Toy. Hopefully this helped a little bit. I know this was a little bit confusing. I'll try to do a little bit more on this in a future video, but I don't want to ramble on for too long. So I'll talk to you guys later. Until the next one. Bye.